Elon Musk is said to have done an interview with Jesse Waters that said that the massive fraud at DOGE, or that DOGE is finding, is crazy. He said it's crazy. Let's go ahead and get into that. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
We met the whole crew, even big balls, and they showed us how DOGE really gets done. We sat back, listened, and we learned a lot, and we hope you do too. Here's part one of our exclusive interview. Elon, thank you so much for bringing us into the meeting here. I'm going to do something no anchor ever does. I'm not going to talk.
What?
For as long as possible.
You're talking right now.
I'm going to let you run your meeting, and then I'll interrupt when I'm bored. So take it away.
So, like a board meeting.
Like a board meeting. Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess we normally go around the table, say what do we get done this week?
Want to go this way?
Sure. No, we start with you.
Sure. So actually, a lot of great work at the Treasury this week. One of the crazy things with regards to the Treasury is that when a payment is made, and the computers at the Treasury actually pay about $5 trillion per year, like crazy amounts, there was formerly not a budget code on there. So if a payment was made, you didn't know actually what it was for. It could have been for anything.
Yeah.
There was a $4 billion COVID fund in the Department of Education, and there was no receipts required, so people could just draw down on it. And when people looked into it, this wasn't us, this was before us, they found that money was being used to rent out Caesar's Palace for parties, rent out stadiums, et cetera. And so the one change that DOGE made with the Department of Education is we had the simple requirement that if you draw down money, you must first upload a receipt. That was the only change that was made. You must upload your receipt. And upon doing so,
yes,
nobody drew down any money anymore.
Yes, but
That's insane. That is insane. That is genuinely insane. That is crazy. So people were able to draw down on the money to use it for whatever it is that they wanted to use it for, over $4 billion. That's crazy, bro. Now you see why these Democrats and why these people are so angry that DOGE is going in and finding all of this fraud.
we didn't say that we'd check the receipt. You could send a fake receipt. You could send a picture of your dog. Anything. And but as soon as we asked for anything at all, suddenly the requests were like, oh, we don't need it anymore. Huh, that's interesting.
They were renting Caesar's Palace.
Yes, they were like basically partying on the taxpayer money.
Stadiums.
Yes.
Leasing stadiums. For what?
For parties, basically.
For parties.
Yes.
That's a big party.
It's a big party.
You'd think if you were stealing, you'd start small.
They do start small. But then what happens is over the years, so generally the fraud starts out small and they try to hide it. But then year after year, if nobody stops the fraud, it gets more and more brazen. And every year it gets bigger until they're literally renting out stadiums.
What's that, $1 million to rent out a stadium?
Fraud in flagrante delicto, okay? We're talking at scale.
This is driving me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
When you find these things, do you guys get mad? You're like, yes, I got one. How does it make you feel?
It's so common.
It's so common.
You're like used to it.
I mean, you just get
so numb to it.
Unfortunately, like the 100th time you've heard it, it's hard not to get a little numb.
Yeah.
You know, but like
That's crazy, bro. That is insane. So you basically telling us that the biggest fraudsters, the biggest abuse that is happening is basically our taxpayer dollars going out the window and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Look, bro, you know how you like see certain things, or you see people say stuff like, oh no, man, the wealthy, they don't say nothing. This is why they don't say nothing. What you think all of these people got rich because they created a business? No. These people ain't getting rich because they created a business. They getting rich because they was in the right rooms with the right people that allowed for them to steal from the American taxpayers. Bro, for so many years, so many people have stolen so much money. How can you be a public servant? How can you be somebody that works for the federal government and get rich? Like, that's not confusing to y'all. Nobody ever stopped and said, wait a minute, why are all of the Congress people rich? Why are they so dedicated? Why are they so, if these people are millionaires, Congress people and stuff like that, didn't come in that way. But if these people are truly millionaires, how? How do you become a multi-millionaire making 174? And that's how much they're making now. How do you become a multi-millionaire and make 174,000? All they doing is what the mob did with the Teamsters unions and the unions that they set up in order to establish Vegas and stuff. Man, these people are evil, 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 evil. So you richer than me? So all you do is attend a meeting every day. You don't do nothing. You don't actually work your butt off. You don't add no value. You don't create any value in society. I am up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm back up at 7:30 a.m. in order to get ready for the next day. I live, breathe, work, grind, hustle every day. Every entrepreneur, every person that has started a business, everybody that I know personally that got rich, behind the scenes, they grinding. And you're telling me that these public servants, most of them, have a net worth, a hidden net worth that is exponentially more than most of us, all of these entrepreneurs, and these people just got rich just based off of just being lucky? And they spend millions, if not billions of dollars to get reelected every term? And they're fighting against term limits? Man, get the heck out of here, bro. That's why they hate Elon Musk. This is why they are staging these protests. These protests is not just coming up. Look, everybody that you see outside of a Tesla dealership, everybody that you see protesting on a front of some city, these are paid protesters, a lot of them. Secondly, the ones that are not paid, they are sheep. They are being manipulated to basically try to preserve the resources that is being stolen out of their own tax dollars. Imagine being a person that is protesting for somebody to keep stealing from you. You know what that's like? That is like us. We are the people, the family members, we are the people that see a girl that's getting beat up on the side of the road, right? And if you go over there and you try to help her, then she may help her boyfriend beat you up because you're trying to save her from herself. Democrats and liberals are in an abusive relationship. That's all it is. Democrats and liberals are in an abusive relationship with their oppressor. You know what y'all are? Y'all are modern day slaves. You are the person that is fighting against, going against massa. Y'all want to talk about racism. Forget the transatlantic slave trade. Forget black people. Forget all of that stuff. Y'all are in slavery. You are enslaved by the very people that you are voting for, fighting for, crying for, and they are taking your money and they spending it while at the same time using you to promote them, continuing to stay in power so that they can oppress you and overtax you. This is literally slavery. This is literally an abusive relationship. We are trying to save you against your abusive boyfriend that keep beating you in your head, but you don't feel like he loves you unless he abuses you. I do know that, Jackie. That's what I keep trying to convince people that don't understand their history. That's why I call it the plantation. That's literally why I call it the plantation. I call it the plantation because people are fighting to stay on a plantation that is not good for them. And then you know what y'all do? Y'all have children that they can then bring right back into the plantation, and you can be a cotton picking knit nanny or whatever it is that they call. And they find so much fraud that they numb to it.
And by the 200th time, you're like, well, okay, it's just another day at the office.
We checked, is the Small Business Administration giving loans to dead people over the age of 120? The answer was yes, and it was around $330 million in total. So
People with a birthday that could not possibly be real.
yeah,
Meaning they're over 100, they're 115 years old or older. The oldest living American is 114. So it's safe to say if anybody is in the system as 115 years or older, that is fake.
So just by sharing a database and looking at social security numbers that showed that at the time of the loan, they had listed as over 115 years old, or actually under 11. We didn't even check for under 18.
Babies and dead
Under 11 years old. That's pretty clear,
babies
right?
and dead people who are getting loans.
That was $660 million.
And also people with birth dates in the future.
What does that mean?
Well, in one, I mean, I think the birth date, I think in one case was like
Fetuses were getting
No, not
loans.
even. No, really sort of you're talking about like your great grandchildren, like with the birth date, like of, I think it was like 2165. So more than a century from now was the birth date.
George Jetson was getting paid.
Yes, because your birthday is in the future, like the far future, not like next year.
Right.
And this is either fraudulent or we have your birthday wrong.
It's
One of
either a
the-
typo or someone's stealing.
Which is it? Yes.
Right.
Yes. You should at least ask, which is it?
Do you guys feel you're getting justice and accountability?
One of the, I think, extreme examples of non-accountability in some cases has occurred at some of the small agencies. I think the Inter-American Foundation, IAF, is one of the agencies we visited where, they get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like, alpaca farming in Peru, improving
That's a real example.
Yes, that's the real description. Improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala.
Really?
Fruit jam. Yes.
What? Yeah,
And so you might expect, in the private sector, a nonprofit to give, 80 to 90% of their money to grantees. In the case of IAF, that was 58%. So the other half goes towards management, travel.
What we're to find exactly, I mean, to Ethan's example is that even if you agreed with supporting alpaca farmers in Peru, well, actually, most of the money never made it out of DC.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
It's going into the pockets of people in the neighborhood.
What
And
percentage?
they didn't even get to Peru.
Right. So what percentage do you think doesn't even get to the destination it's supposed to?
I believe the GAO estimate, so this is not our estimate, I believe it was on the order of only 10 to 15 cents on the dollar actually gets to the end recipient, whether you agree with that cause or not.
So
Y'all want to know why everybody in DC is rich, or everybody got these multi-million-dollar houses, but they got a public servant's job? Hey, remember when I don't know if y'all remember this. This might have been before y'all time. I used to watch House Hunters, and they would go to a place like DC, and this is real. Y'all know that I'm telling the truth. And they would be like, okay, so a husband and wife, they are going to go and purchase a house together, and the real estate people would say, okay, so they would always ask them what their budget is first. Well, our budget is $1.5 million. Now, this was back like way before. This was like 07, 06, 07, 08, maybe a little bit before, maybe a little bit after. Oh, our budget is $1.5 million. Oh, okay, well, what does your wife do for a living? She's a beekeeper. Well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a public servant and I work at a nonprofit organization in DC. I'm the director of a nonprofit organization in DC. Wait. So well, my wife isn't actually a beekeeper. She makes sure that she harvests the pollen from bees. How much does she make a year? I think she makes like $37,000 a year. Well, wait a minute. Y'all budget is, and we used to be sitting there, but honestly, I used to be sitting there and I'd be thinking to myself, all right, should I be going to school to be a beekeeper? Should I be going to school to be a public servant? Their budgets was crazy. They was getting vacation homes and stuff, and it was so overt that nobody even tripped. I couldn't understand how these people had such huge budgets and how they was about to pay this house note, and they was just looking at these super mansions and stuff like that. And I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Is everybody rich but me? Because I know that I'm going through a tough time because we got layoffs going on and stuff like that. But what is did I miss something? I never understood. And this is why. Because people have been low-key robbing us because we are the ones that pour into the federal coffers for years.
So they're just stealing the money before it even gets anywhere.
There's layers of stealing. So there's the first layer of stealing, second layer of stealing, third layer of stealing.
Subcontractor,
You start peeling the onion. Yeah, exactly. Contractor, subcontractor. It's like peeling an onion. And then maybe, and sometimes it's zero. Just flat, you get to the bottom of the onion, there's nothing there.
So maybe no one got a sex change in Guatemala.
It's possible that no one got a sex change in Guatemala.
I overheard a contractor tell one of her colleagues to falsify billable hours by creating a PowerPoint to mask a delay in the onboarding process in front of me. And this is like hour zero at this agency. And so, I mean, this is just a common theme that you take a look at these contracts, you take a look at these grants, and it's veiled in noble rhetoric. You know, it's at the top level. It
sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And then you actually just follow what are the funds actually doing?
Or send us a picture.
Exactly. And
the send us a picture request is incredibly good. Like Pixar, it didn't happen. And then they're like, and it wouldn't be that hard to just, frankly, they could search for some fake pics on the internet or get AI to generate the pics, but they don't even bother doing that.
So you caught them cold billing fraud.
Oh, I caught them, her advising her colleague to do this because it takes a few days to onboard. So that is being investigated right now.
Yeah, I mean, generally, like these programs, these grants are going to be like along the lines of save the baby pandas. And it's like, well, of course, who wouldn't want to save the baby pandas? And you know, in some cases, they've got a show panda, which they will trot out for special occasions. In a lot of cases, they don't even have a show panda.
No panda.
There's not even one panda, because we asked for pictures, and we don't even get one panda. And it's like, well, that's a lot. You know, what does $1 billion get you? It does not even get you one panda.
You really want to see a baby panda?
Yeah, like the Ebola money. We're like, okay, well, we agree with we shouldn't have Ebola. You know, where is the money going? Oh, it's going to Deloitte in DC. Like, what is an accounting firm doing with Ebola money?
What has been the biggest resistance? Is there one agency? Is there one department that when you guys walk in, they all start fighting you, start hiding
Wait, I thought
things?
you weren't going to talk.
I'm sorry.
But I guess you can answer that question. Sure. I mean, let's. Yes, we've certainly had some battles.
Battles.
Yeah. I mean, who should talk about Yusuf?
Nate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jesse, there's an agency, a small agency called the United States Institute of Peace. It's definitely the agency we had the most fight at. We actually went into the agency and found that they had loaded guns inside of their headquarters. Institute for Peace.
I mean, any given company, any given organizational name is going to be kind of be the opposite of the title.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was by far the least peaceful agency that we've worked with, ironically.
Of course.
Additionally, we found that they were spending money on things like private jets, and they even had a $130,000 contract with a former member of the Taliban. This is real. We don't encounter that at most agencies.
Yeah.
What was the money going to the Taliban for?
So it was a contractor. They received $130,000 for generic services. And to Elon's point, there was not actually a clear description of what the contractor services were for. But
Was it for opium?
Unclear.
Or weapons?
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
or a bribe?
Or nothing.
And you naturally have to ask the question, well, how did we get here? Like when the country was founded, there were only 4 agencies. Today, there are over 400. So there's been a 100x increase in the number of agencies since the founding of the nation. And thanks to President Trump, he's now signed 2 executive orders to start to reduce the number of agencies in the government, and the Institute of Peace was one of them, which is why our team went in to try and understand what was going on. And that's when we found all of the craziness, like the weapons in their armory. We found the payments to the Taliban.
You know, this is absolutely disgusting, especially since you'll see Biden and you've seen Kamala Harris and you've seen Bernie Sanders, and they were running around talking about we need to tax the rich and make them pay their fair share. What? What? Tax the rich, make them pay their fair share. We need to raise taxes. We need to do this. We need to do that. Man, they all in on it. They're all in on it. Every last one of them. None of them are clean. None of them are clean. And it disgusts me. It aggravates me. It truly makes my blood boil. And what makes my blood boil even more is that you can play this interview if somebody has the patience to sit through it. A liberal, you can play the interview for these Democrats. So you can play the interview to say, hey, this is why we need the Department of Government Efficiency. And they'll say, and they'll play you something from Jasmine Crockett back.